Carolina, Tampa Bay, and Baltimore, Pittsburgh are winner-take-all games for the final spots in the playoffs. Though Sunday's Saints-Falcons game could impact that NFC South race. The Broncos, Jaguars, and Patriots are all playing for the AFC's number one seed. Meanwhile, in the NFC, the Seahawks and 49ers will duel for the number one seed. Let's get into the full Week 18 slate, which culminates with the Sunday Night Football matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. For this is the Week 18 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. Hey there, welcome everybody to the Week 18 edition, the regular season finale of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined by Michael Bullock. We are maybe awaiting the presence of good old MF Michael Fletcher. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. It is hard to believe that we are already at Week 18. It feels like just yesterday we were starting a brand new season of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, but nonetheless, it's here and it's now. The final week of the regular season before we officially start the road to Super Bowl 60 next week with Super Wildcard Weekend. You know how we do it here in Week 18. All games, divisional games. And with that, let's not waste too much more time. Let's dive right on in. Tomorrow afternoon at 4:30, simulcasting on both ESPN and ABC, it will be the Carolina Panthers squaring off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Chris Fowler, Dan Orlovsky, Louis Riddick, alongside of Katie George and Peter Schrager, will be on the call. Tampa Bay opening up as a 3-point favorite. They just met a few weeks ago, and Tampa Bay and Carolina winning that game in Charlotte 23-20. So Carolina adds to their series lead. It's now 26-24 Carolina. And the Buccaneers have reason to feel confident here because the Carolina Panthers have not won in Tampa Bay since 2017. And that was a 17-3 final. Tampa Bay has won the last several years in a row, including, the last time the Panthers beat the Bucs, it was actually in London, where Tampa Bay was the home team in 2019. Carolina won 37-26. The last time Carolina won purely in Tampa was 2017. But Tampa Bay won there last year, 48-14 beatdown. So for games with playoff implications, we'll go into a little detail. For games that have no implications, we'll just do a quick little run through on that. But here we go. Let's start it off. Panthers defensive back Nick Scott said, "We've actually got one game left and it's for everything." It's the attitude they plan to keep in the playoffs. It's a cliche. Let's go 1-0 each week mentality that has allowed Carolina to bounce back from bad performances and losses to win the next week, as the Panthers have done consistently since mid-October. It's amazing to think that the Bucs still have a shot at the playoffs after losing 7 of their last 8 games. But it's a possibility if they can win for the first time since November 30th. Quarterback Baker Mayfield said you have to have a short memory, and I do. I know what the priority is, and that's winning on Saturday. To be able to completely forget what's going on, no. Being the competitor I am frustrated with where we're at. I am able to compartmentalize and be able to focus on Saturday. Buccaneers defense has allowed a score on 21 of 22 opponent red zone drives over the last 8 games, 16 touchdowns and 5 field goals. It's very simple what's at stake here. The Panthers can clinch the NFC South and a playoff berth with a win or tie or an Atlanta Falcons win against New Orleans on Sunday. The Buccaneers can clinch with a win and a Falcon loss to the Saints. The FPI gives the edge to Tampa Bay, 62% going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But if I'm going to be honest with you, I have not liked what I have seen from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the last several weeks. And I've liked what I've seen from Carolina. They did have the one bad game against Seattle last week, but if I'm being honest with you, I got to go with the Carolina Panthers to win this game. I'm going to say Carolina wins. I'm going to say 24-21. Carolina goes into Tampa and beats the Buccaneers. Would I be surprised if Tampa wins? No. But until I see better from the Bucs, I have to go with the Carolina Panthers in this one. And I say they will do it. 24-21. I got Carolina winning this one. Not much more to say. Michael Bullock, come on in. Week 18, and we started off with the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the NFC South.
Yeah, I mean this is a big one here. I mean, with the South on the line here, I mean it's oh man, I mean this is tough. I mean, look, I'm gonna be quite honest with you, Florio. I mean, look, no disrespect. I mean, look, Tampa. I mean, they've come so far. I mean, look, I know things haven't gone well for them, and they are at home. I just can't see them blowing this after everything they've done to have this when they had the NFC South lead. I just can't see them blowing it. So now, if this game was in Carolina, I would agree with you and go with the Carolina Panthers. But this is Raymond James Stadium. Tampa Tampa's fought so hard to get to I mean where they were earlier in the year. So I'm sorry, I have to disagree with you. I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this one. So with that being said, let's get on to the second half of the Saturday doubleheader, and it's another big one.
It's even bigger. You thought Carolina Tampa was big? Oh no, this is even bigger. I'm going to go as far as to call this the NFC game of the week. This is the game of the week on the other side of the ledger here. The other half of the Saturday doubleheader, 8 p.m., ESPN and ABC. The Seattle Seahawks squaring off against the San Francisco 49ers from the home of Super Bowl 60 next month. Levi's Stadium, Santa Clara. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salters, Laura Rutledge. Seattle opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. These two teams met all the way back in week number 1 in Seattle, and San Francisco won that game 17-13. So they cut into Seattle's series lead. It's now 30-23 in favor of Seattle. Last year in San Francisco, Seattle won 20-17. 49ers' last home win against the Seahawks was 2023, a 28-16 final. We know what's at stake in this one. It's not only the NFC West division, but it's also the number 1 seed in the NFC. Michael Bullock, as we started off with you here, could you imagine if San Francisco wins this game and the road to Super Bowl 60 literally goes through the stadium that's hosting it?
It's very possible. I mean, it's possible that it could be the case. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, like you said, I mean, the winner not only gets the NFC West title, but also the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. So this is a game that I think could go either way. I mean, San Fran. I mean, what can you say about them? This team has fought through. They fought through so many injuries, and now to be where they are right now, not only with the NFC West title on the line, but the number 1 overall seed. I mean, it's just unbelievable. While Seattle, of course, is with the season they're having with Sam Darnold and with their rookie receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba. So it's a game that could go either way. So again, I mean, if this game was in Seattle, I'd go with the Seahawks. But with this being in San Fran, and with everything that San Fran has gone through with the injuries to get where they are, I have to go with the San Francisco 49ers to win this one. And yeah, I mean, that's just the way I see it. But I would not be surprised if Seattle were to win this. So I'm going to go with the 49ers to win this one. So it's yours, Florio. I mean, it's just tough for me to go against the 49ers with everything they've dealt with. I mean, especially on the injury front.
This team's been unbelievable, but let's dive on in. The stakes could not be higher for the Seahawks. Outside linebacker DeMarcus Lawrence said it's in our hands and all we have to do is grasp it. But grabbing the NFC's number 1 seed would be harder if Seattle is down to its number 3 left tackle in Amari Kite, an undrafted rookie. Starter Charles Cross with a hamstring injury has missed the last 2 games and was listed as a non-participant on Tuesday. His backup, Josh Jones, with an ankle and a knee, he's hurt as well, and he didn't practice on Tuesday. The last time these teams met with this much on the line, the 49ers won a classic when linebacker Dre Greenlaw stopped Seahawks tight end Jacob Hollister 1 yard short of the winning touchdown in 2019. That 49er team went to the Super Bowl. They appeared in Super Bowl 54, albeit in a losing effort against the Kansas City Chiefs. There aren't many coaches or players on either side still in the league, so Coach Kyle Shanahan hasn't tapped into it much this week, but it's expected to be the kind of hard-hitting matchup that has defined this rivalry. And though home field advantage is important for the winner, the real prize is what amounts to a free playoff win. Kyle Shanahan said, football, out of all sports, home field advantage is the biggest advantage because I think crowd noise truly affects the game in terms of pass rush and things like that. But the main thing is just it's one less game. The Seahawks defense ranks top 10 in the NFL in sacks, 44, which is 8th, and pressure percentage, 35%, which is 5th this season. Meanwhile, the 49er defense ranks last in sacks with 18 and pressure rate at 25%. We know it's at stake, guys. Seahawks can clinch the NFC West number 1 seed in home field advantage with a win or a tie. 49ers can clinch with a win. It's basically winner take all. Slight FPI for Seattle, but it's very slight. It's only 51%. 51%. That is it for Seattle. But with all due respect, I'm with Michael Bullock on this one. I got the San Francisco 49ers winning this one after that wild and crazy game they had against Chicago last Sunday night. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another shootout here. I'm going to go 35-31. San Francisco defeats Seattle, and San Francisco, the road to Super Bowl 60, literally would literally run through Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. And what a story that would be for this team that's had all these injuries all season long. And if anybody were to tell me with all these injuries that this team was going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC, I would have said, you're nuts. Well, we've got the egg on our face. So, what a story. All right. So, with that being said, let's move on to the Sunday portion of the schedule. And we're going to start it off with the first of 6 1 o'clock games. And this one will be over on Fox. It will be the New Orleans Saints squaring off against the Atlanta Falcons from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. This one is on Fox. It'll be Chris Myers, Mark Schlereth, and Jen Hale. The spread favors Atlanta. Atlanta opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. And they just met in New Orleans about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it was the Falcons winning that game in New Orleans, 24-10. And with that, the regular season series between these two is now tied 56-56. So whoever wins this game will take the regular season series lead going into next season. In Atlanta last year, the Falcons, matter of fact, the Falcons have won the last 2 meetings at home. New Orleans has not won in Atlanta since 2022, and that was a 27-26 final. So with that, let's kick off the Sunday slate of week number 18. And there is somewhat of some implications in this one. The futures of several Saints will be up in the air Sunday. 36-year-old Demario Davis, 36-year-old Cameron Jordan, and 35-year-old Taysom Hill all have voiding contracts in the offseason. That means there are no guarantees the longtime veterans will be back in New Orleans next season, giving a final game against the Saints' biggest rival special meaning this weekend. Jordan had fun with the rivalry when asked recently, trash Atlanta, can't Atlanta, ain't Atlanta. It's all about the same. 28-3, Jordan said. Falcon coach Raheem Morris said it's really upsetting that his team and the Saints have been the hottest teams in the NFC South, despite both being mathematically eliminated from the playoffs several weeks ago. It's not because Morris doesn't want his team to finish strong. You can't ever get tired of winning, he said. He was just hoping the success would have happened sooner. Atlanta figures to unleash running back Bijan Robinson, who needs 255 scrimmage yards to set the single-season record. Saints quarterback Tyler Shuck has 3 straight games with at least 250 passing yards and 0 interceptions, tied with Houston's C.J. Stroud and the L.A. Chargers' Justin Herbert for the longest streak by a rookie quarterback in NFL history. 55%. The FPI goes with Atlanta, 55%. So I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons to win this game. I'm going to go to 27-24. I'm going with Atlanta to defeat New Orleans. And the Saints got some devastating injury news today where Chris Olave, their star wide receiver, is going to be out due to a blood clot in his lung, which they caught early, thank goodness. So they said he should be fine in about a month or so. So he should be fully ready for next season. So because of this, I'm going to go with Atlanta to win. I'm going to go 27-24. Atlanta defeats New Orleans. And Bullock, like I said earlier, this game could have an impact on that Carolina-Tampa NFC South race.
Yeah, it definitely could. So we'll see what happens. But either way, I do have Atlanta winning this one. So, yeah, there's nothing more to say. So let's move on to the next 1 o'clock game.
And this is over on our side of the ledger. This is our number 7 game of the week. It will be the Cleveland Browns squaring off against the Cincinnati Bengals. Paycor Stadium, formerly Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. And on the call for CBS, it will be Tom McCarthy, Logan Ryan, and Amanda Balionis. Cincinnati opening up as a 7.5-point favorite. And I believe these two teams also met in week number 1, and it was Cincinnati winning in Cleveland 17-16. So Cincinnati adds to their series lead. It's now 56-48 Cincinnati. This game's in Cincinnati, so I think the Bengals have won the last 3 meetings in a row against the Browns at home. The Browns have not won in Cincinnati since 2021, and they smashed them 41-16. So, Michael Bullock, no implications here, obviously. Cleveland, Cincinnati, who you got?
Yeah, no implications, but definitely for pride when it comes to both of these teams being from Ohio. So I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals to win this one. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah. Got to be Cincinnati here. Of course, there is one story that comes out of this. Myles Garrett. You know that story. With 22 sacks this season, Myles Garrett has one more chance to record a sack and break the NFL single-season record. He will get the opportunity to do it against a quarterback who has become well acquainted with him over the years. And Garrett has sacked Joe Burrow 12 times in his career, tied with the Baltimore Ravens' Lamar Jackson for the most of any quarterback in Garrett's career. Bengals tight end Harold Fannin Jr., he's had a great season. Rookie has been a productive part of Cleveland's offense, but after slowing down Arizona's Trey McBride last week, Cincinnati looks to continue the new trend against Fannin. Al Golden, the defensive coordinator, simply said Fannin matches what they do really well. Bengals have allowed 29.5 points a game this season, second worst in the NFL, ahead of only the Dallas Cowboys at almost 30. Cincinnati on pace to have the team's most points a game allowed in the season in franchise history. Overwhelming FPI for Cincinnati, 80% going with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals. 31-16. Give me Cincinnati over Cleveland. Next up, this game comes in at number 3 on our side of the ledger. It's the Indianapolis Colts squaring off against the Houston Texans from NRG Stadium in Houston. And on the call for this one, I believe it's Iron Eagle's crew. Yes, it is. Iron Eagle, J.J. Watt, Evan Washburn. They will be in Houston. The Texans opening up as a 10.5 point favorite in this one. 10.5 in favor of Houston. They met just a few weeks ago in Indianapolis, and Houston won that game 20-16. So they cut into Indy's overwhelming lead. It's still 32-14 with a tie in favor of Indy. Houston's won 4 meetings in a row against the Colts. And the Texans have actually won the last meeting in Houston last year, 23-20. Indy's last win in Houston was the year before in 23, 31-20 was the final there. So Colts and Texans up next, and let's take a look into this one. Indianapolis will start rookie quarterback Riley Leonard against an aggressive Houston defense. Leonard takes over for Phillip Rivers, whose short-lived return from retirement did not produce a playoff berth for Indy. Colts made the prudent decision to go with Leonard this week, but the challenge is significant. Coach Shane Steichen said we've just got to be efficient, running the football, getting the ball out of our hands quick. Like I said, they're really good on defense. Texans coach D'Amico Ryan said Monday that the Texans are playing their guys because they still have an opportunity to win the AFC South. And Houston has a chance to win that division for the 3rd consecutive season. The Texans' Danielle Hunter has 4 games of multiple sacks this season, tied for second most in the NFL with Cleveland's Myles Garrett, and trailing only Brian Burns, who has 5. Texans can clinch the AFC South with a win and a Jacksonville loss to Tennessee. 69% going with the Houston Texans. I'm going with the Houston Texans as well. 26-13. Give me Houston over Indianapolis. Michael Bullock, what says you? Colton Texans.
Yeah, I got to go with the Houston Texans. And like you said, they just need to do their part and then hope for Jacksonville to lose, and they would end up clinching the South. So I'm going to go with the Houston Texans here. So let's move on to the next game.
And speaking of the AFC South, it's the other game. It's the other game in the AFC South. This one's over on Fox, though. It's the Tennessee Titans squaring off against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Everbank Field in Jacksonville. Fox has this game. It'll be Adam Amin, Drew Brees, and Christina Pink. Jacksonville opening up as a 13.5 point favorite. These two teams last meeting, that was in Tennessee. Jacksonville smashed Tennessee 25-3 in that game. So Tennessee still leads the series, but it's now 34-27 in favor of Tennessee. Jags have won 3 in a row against Tennessee. Jaguars have won the last 3 meetings at home against Tennessee. Tennessee hasn't won in Jacksonville since 2021 when they smashed them 37-19. So Michael Bullock, it's very simple. The Jags control their own destiny. All they need to do is win, and they win the South.
Yeah, like you said, that's the only thing they got to do is just win, and they will clinch the AFC South. And I think that's going to be the case. So I'm going to go with the Jaguars. I think they should have no problem with the Titans, so they'll win and clinch the AFC South. So it's yours, Florio.
Oh, most definitely. Titans interim coach Mike McCoy described the rivalry with the Jaguars as a professional hatred. Having previously served as the QB coach in Jacksonville, McCoy said, I know a lot of those guys over there on that team, and I understand when they play the Tennessee Titans what this game means to them. You watched the game the last time, the saltiness of the game. The Titans were like nothing more than to beat the Jaguars, to deny them the AFC South, and knock them down a spot or 2 in the playoffs. Jaguars are trying to beat the Titans for the 4th consecutive time, which would be their longest winning streak in this series. Doing so would give them the AFC South for the second time in 4 years. It also would be the Jaguars' 8th consecutive victory since they blew a 19-point fourth quarter lead at Houston. Wide receiver Parker Washington simply said, "We've come a long way and we're just going to keep building on that." Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence has accounted for 35 touchdowns this season, 26 passing and 9 rushing, second most in a season in team history. Only Blake Bortles had 37 in 2015. Jaguars can clinch the number 1 seed and home field advantage with a win, along with losses by both Denver and New England. They can win the AFC South with a winner tie or a Texans loss and tie. Another overwhelming FPI, 78% going with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. 33-23, I'm going with Jacksonville over Tennessee. And hey, we got him. We got good old MF Michael Fletcher. Bullock, take a breather here. We're going to catch MF off on the games we've done so far. We've only done about 6 or so far, MF. Started off with the first half of the Saturday doubleheader, the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the NFC South. Who you got?
I'm actually going to shock a few people. I'm going with Carolina for the upset. I think Carolina's going to win the division.
All right. And then the big one, the NFC game of the week, the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers for the NFC West and the number 1 seed in the NFC. And can you imagine if San Fran wins, what that would mean with the Super Bowl being there?
I not only see it, I think it's going to happen. I got the 49ers winning the game. I got them winning the West. I got them winning the one seed and the home playoff throughout, including and the first round bye. I think San Francisco gets it all.
New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. This game actually could have an impact on Carolina and Tampa in the NFC South.
Depending on how it goes, I got Atlanta winning the game. I don't think Atlanta can win the division, but they could actually help Carolina get in. It's a weird situation with that. So yeah.
The Cleveland Browns against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Cincinnati, easy.
Indianapolis Colts against the Houston Texans in our number 3 game of the week.
I'm going to go with Houston.
And the game that Bullock and I just talked about, the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And I got the Jaguars winning that game.
All right, MF, you're all caught up. And with that, we're going to reset. We're going to go back to the top. I'm going to lead off on our next 1 o'clock game. We got 2 of those left. This is our number 4 game of the week, according to MF. We got the Green Bay Packers squaring off against the Minnesota Vikings, US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, and Aditi Kinkabuela will have the call for CBS. And the spread favors, believe it or not, Minnesota, opening up as a 9.5-point favorite in this one. They met in at Lambeau earlier in the season, and Green Bay won that one 23-6. So Green Bay adds to their series lead, 66-59 with 3 ties. This is in Minnesota. Minnesota won last year, 27-25. Green Bay's last win in Minnesota was the year before in 2023, smashed them 33-10. So let's get into the Packers and the Vikings now. This isn't a preseason game, even though the matchup has no playoff implications, so Coach Matt LaFleur doesn't have the luxury of holding out all of his starters. But some won't play to get them or keep them healthy for the playoffs. There's going to be some starters that aren't going to play, LaFleur said. Shoot, they may not suit up. They might suit up, and then you're going to have some starters that are going to play. So basically, you guys will find out on Sunday who's playing. In a game with no playoff implications, the most dramatic development will be whether Vikings receiver Justin Jefferson gets the 53 yards he needs to hit 1,000 receiving yards this season. Reaching the milestone is important to him. He has done it in each of his previous 5 seasons, including in 2023, despite missing 7 games because of a hamstring injury. He has not missed a game this season and has played 95% of the Vikings' offensive snaps. Players and coaches want him to get it too. But the team's offensive struggles this season have left him with fewer than 50 receiving yards in 7 of his last 9 games. Packers have 13 takeaways this season, tied for the 6th fewest in the NFL, after having the 4th most last season at 31. Packers have clinched the number 7 seed, and the Vikings, who are eliminated, are projected to pick number 15 in the NFL draft. Despite Minnesota being a heavy point favorite, they're still giving it to Green Bay in the FPI, 75%. Little wonkiness on this, but tough to call, but I'm going to give a slight edge to Minnesota here. I think Minnesota wins this one. I'm going to say 20-13, Minnesota. So not much more. MF, Green Bay and Minnesota. Your thoughts?
I think I'm going to give it to Minnesota as well because it's just so much uncertainty about what Green Bay is going to do, especially who's starting, who's not starting, who's playing, who's not playing. That's kind of give me some red flags here. So I'm going to go with Minnesota to win this game. And Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Well, like you said, I mean, with this game, I mean, obviously Green Bay, they're already in the playoffs. They're already locked into the seed that they are in, and
7.
they're already locked into the number 7 seed. So there's literally nothing else for them to play for. So that's why Matt LaFleur is probably going to sit probably a lot of his starters, so that way they can be healthy and ready to go for their first playoff game next weekend as part of Super Wild Card Weekend. So because of that, I too am going to go with the Minnesota Vikings to win this one. So let's move on to the next game.
Our final early afternoon 1:00 game from the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys squaring off against the New York Giants. MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey in the Meadowlands. Kevin Kugler, Daryl Moose Johnston, Allison Williams on the call. Dallas opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. Dallas beat the Giants 40-37 in overtime in a wild and crazy game all the way back in week number 2 in Jerry World. Dallas adds to their series lead 78-46 with 2 ties. And the Cowboys have been on a roll against the Giants. They have won 9 straight against the Giants. Giants haven't beaten the Cowboys overall and at home since 2020, 23-19. So not much more. MF, we close out the 1:00 games. Dallas and the Giants. Who you got?
Yeah, no, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Giants are, they're still looking to possibly lock up the number 1 overall. It is a glimpse or definitely a bad situation because that win over the Raiders may have just cost them the number 1 overall pick. Basically, they need to lose this game, and somehow, some way, the Raiders are going to have to blow it to win against Kansas City, which it's very possible. You don't know, but I do believe that the Cowboys will do their job to help the Giants. So I got Dallas winning this game because the Giants, like I said, they can't afford to win this game because they have an outside shot at the number 1 overall in the upcoming NFL draft. So they're gonna need some good fortune here. So I'm pretty sure you're gonna see New York trying to lose, throwing this game, which I know is not the most ideal situation, but I do believe that's going to be the outcome. So give me the Cowboys to win. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to win this one as well and keep their slim shot of maybe getting that number 1 overall pick in this year's draft alive. So we'll see what happens. So give me the Cowboys to win. It's yours, Florio.
All right, gentlemen, we move on to the first of 7 4:25 p.m. games. This one is on CBS. I believe we put this as our number 5 game of the week. Not going to lie, this is going to be an emotional one for me because it's going to be the New York Jets squaring off against my Buffalo Bills in what will most certainly be the final, not just the final regular season game, but the final game altogether at the old Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park. And it's only fitting that we have the man who serves as the preseason voice of the Buffalo Bills calling this game for CBS. It'll be Andrew Canelon alongside of Charles Davis and Jason McCourty, AJ Ross on the sidelines. Buffalo opening up as an 8-point favorite. They met back in week number 2 at MetLife. Buffalo won that game rather handily, 30-10. Buffalo adds to their series lead. It's now 71-58 in favor of Buffalo. They've won the last 4 meetings in a row against the Jets, including the last 5 in a row at Highmark. The Jets have not won in Buffalo since 2019, a 13-6 final there. So, Michael Bullock, we started with you here. We kick off our 425 games. The New York Jets against my Buffalo Bills for what will not only be the final regular season game, but the final game, most likely, at the old Highmark Stadium. Not going to lie, man, this is going to be an emotional one for me.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is, because like you said, it's looking like it's going to be the final game ever at that stadium. I know most Bills fans, especially Anthony Florio, would have loved to have maybe at least one home playoff game just to send the fans home happy. But obviously that's not going to be the case. They're going to take their playoff games on the road this year. So yeah, but either way, it's going to be emotional. And the only question is, how much of the regulars are they going to play in this game? So, but you know what? No matter what happens, I think Buffalo's going to win this one, especially with this being the final game ever at Highmark Stadium. So give me Buffalo to win. It's yours, Florio.
Let me get to the business first, and then I'll get to the personal side of it for me. All right. It's all about draft position for the Jets, currently projected for the number 2 pick per ESPN's FPI. The Jets could be as high as number 2 or as low as number 7, a wide variance that would have a huge impact on their pursuit of a quarterback. Rookie quarterback Brady Cook makes his 4th start. His QBR of 10. Listen to that. A QBR of 10 ranks last among 52 players with 50-plus attempts this season. With the Bills locked into a wild card spot, the odds are high that Sunday will mark the final game at the currently named Highmark Stadium, which opened in 1973. Injuries and rest will factor into the Bills' decision regarding who will play as the franchise prepares to honor the stadium. Coach Sean McDermott said as it relates to the game and different things, there's obviously a lot of different paths and approaches we could take. But at the end of the day, the one I always come back to is what's best for the team. Bills quarterback Josh Allen has 14 rushing touchdowns this season. He is 1 away from tying the NFL single-season record for the most by a quarterback. He and Jalen Hurts of Philadelphia both rushed for 15 touchdowns in 2023. The Bills can clinch the number 5 seed with a win and losses by both Houston and the Chargers, or a win plus losses from the Chargers and Jacksonville. Buffalo would clinch the number 6 seed with a win plus a Chargers win and a Texans loss, or a win plus a Chargers loss and wins by the Texans and Jags. Bills could also clinch the number 6 seed with a win plus Chargers and Texans wins, a Jags loss, and then 5 wins from either Dallas, the Rams, Miami, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Seattle, or Tampa. Hope you got all that. There's going to be a quiz later. We've reached uncharted territory when it comes to the FPI. Buffalo records the highest FPI we've had all season long. 90% the FPI in favor of the Buffalo Bills. Oh my God, this is going to be an emotional one for me. Michael Bullock hit the nail on the head. I was hoping for at least one home game in the playoffs, but it's going to take one hell of a miracle for that to happen. But it's very highly unlikely that that's going to happen. So the only way they're going to get to the Super Bowl is by winning all their games on the road. But we'll talk about that next week. Highmark Stadium means a lot to me. Rich Stadium, Ralph Wilson Stadium, New Era Field. Now it's Highmark Stadium. Over 50 years of memories. We've had so much magic there this season. Unfortunately, that magic literally ran out after that gut-wrenching loss to the Philadelphia Eagles 1 week ago, thanks to that blocked extra point and missing that 2-point conversion that would have given them the win. And they would still be in the run. And if they had won that, they still would have been in the running for the division and an outside shot at the one. But they're not going to get either, unfortunately. But it's going to be a special day because for the first time in a very long time, we're going to see the old school red helmets. We're bringing back the red helmets, baby. Oh, is that going to bring back a cornucopia of memories for me? And to make it even better and even sweeter, two of the all-time great Bills are going to serve as co-legends of the game. Steve Tasker, hopefully soon to be Hall of Famer Steve Tasker. Should have been in a long damn time ago, but that's just my opinion. And on top of that, I mean, Steve Tasker is one thing, but you're bringing back the greatest running back the team ever had, and that is number 34, Double T, Thurman Thomas. Steve Tasker and Thurman Thomas. Oh, do you have any idea how rowdy Bills Mafia is going to be when they see them? And you know how rowdy and emotional I'm going to be when I see them leading the way in the final game at Highmark? Oh, my God. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it, man. Oh, my God. But nonetheless, in all seriousness, though, there's no way that Buffalo loses this game in front of the with this being the final game at Highmark. There's no way they lose this. I'm going to go 26-16. Buffalo defeats the Jets. I don't know how the starters are going to play out with JA-17 especially, and James Cook on the verge. He's closing in on the rushing title. If he does that, he'll be the first Buffalo Bill to win the rushing title since the late O.J. Simpson in 1976. What a story that would be for James Cook, despite all that noggin diva holdout nonsense in the offseason and into the summer, which was a big part of that Hard Knocks when Buffalo did the Hard Knocks before the season started. I mean, what a story that would be if the Cook can rule the kitchen of the rushing. So Buffalo wins. Nothing more to say. MF, Jets and Buffalo, final home game in the history of the old Highmark Stadium, barring a crazy miracle.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to be very honest with you, Anthony. It's going to be a very emotional day. There's no doubt about it. Yes, we heard about Steve Tasker. We've heard about Thurman Thomas going to be there as honorary captains, but I'm pretty sure there's more that's going to be there. Andre Reed, Bruce Smith. I think we could see Scott Norwood. I think we're going to see Steve Christie. I think we're going to see all the great Buffalo Bills from yesteryear, from all the times, from the 50s, from the 60s, from the 70s, from the 80s. I would not be surprised, and I would be shocked if we don't see the GOAT himself, the legendary quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, Jim Kelly. I think Kelly's going to be there. I mean, look, we've seen what this team means. We know what this city means to Buffalo. Hell, they made a Hallmark Christmas movie for the Buffalo Bills this year. And a lot of them were in that movie too. So I can say, from Sean McDermott to Dalton Kincaid, Jim Kelly made an appearance in the movie. So yes, I do believe you're going to see a lot of them in showing up for Buffalo for the end of this tremendous run at Highmark Stadium. And I do believe Buffalo will win it. I think they will have an easy time against the New York Jets. I think, Anthony, you're underestimating the final score. I kind of feel like this is going to be like a 38-13 affair. I think Buffalo is going to be so energized early on that I think they're just going to blow the doors right away from the New York Jets. I think it's going to be a 1/2 of absolute dominance. And then I think in the second half, that's when the starters will be taken out. I think there'll be a moment in the game where they'll let JA-17 get a curtain call type of a heroic goodbye to the fans. They'll probably give him an opportunity, maybe just to either hand it off or just to pull him out of the game early so that the fans can acknowledge him and give him the love and the respect that he richly deserves while they're taking him out. And then you'll see the backups come in and they'll probably finish the job the rest of the way. But yeah, I'm with you guys. Buffalo should win this one, and they should win this one going away. So, Anthony, it is yours.
Yeah. The only reason why I went easy on the final score is because of my uncertainty about the starters. But we'll see what happens, though.
I'm confident we'll see at least a half of the Buffalo starters. I think we're going to see at least a half of them.
Okay.
Because I know McDermott's going to want to keep the boys fresh. So I don't think they're going to sit the whole game. I think that would be a mistake. I think they'll probably have them play a half and then they'll probably take them out.
Fair enough. All right. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions squaring off against the Chicago Bears. Soldier Field in Chicago. America's Game of the Week on Fox. Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi. They'll be in Chicago. Chicago opening up as a 3-point favorite. These two teams met in week number 2, and it was the Detroit Lions all over the Chicago Bears at Ford Field, 52-21. But the Bears ended up getting the last laugh. They just won the NFC North. So, anyways, let's see here. It was like I said, Detroit winning that one. So they cut Chicago's lead to 105-81 with 5 ties. And last year in Chicago, Detroit smashed Chicago 34-17. The Bears' last home win against Detroit was the year before, 2023, 28-13. So let's talk about the Lions and the Bears now. Just bear with me for a moment. All right, here we go. Detroit cruised past Chicago 52-21 in their week 2 meeting, but things have drastically changed, with the Lions eliminated from playoff contention and the Bears having won 2 of their last 3 games while sitting atop the NFC North. Lions coach Dan Campbell said the team's mindset entering the finale is to finish on a high note. Campbell said they're more polished, they're a better team. Really, since that team, they lead the league in takeaways on defense. I mean, they're getting them. It's like we talk about, it's contagious for them. Bears quarterback Caleb Williams is 270 yards from being the first quarterback in the Bears' 105 seasons to throw for at least 4,000 yards. Reaching that figure was one of Williams' preseason goals and seems attainable, considering he's coming off a season-high 330 yards last Sunday night at San Francisco. Williams said, I think for me, it would be cool just in the sense of there's never been one here. I think I was brought here for those types of things and those types of moments. The things that haven't been done here to try and be able to accomplish. The Bears have scored 425 points as a team this season. Chicago is 32 points shy of breaking the franchise single season record set in 1985. Do we remember that team, gentlemen? The 2025
They actually
team.
went.
Yeah,
they actually went. 1985 was the year they went all the way and won the Super Bowl. They absolutely, yeah. Could that be an omen? Yeah.
The 2025 team will play 17 games to the 1985 team 16. That team went 15-1. Bears can clinch the number 2 seed with a win, or a Philadelphia loss to Washington. Chicago, however, would drop to the 3 seed if they lose to Detroit and Philly beats Washington. Believe it or not, the FPI, they actually give the FPI to Detroit, but it's not a big one, though. It's only 54%. But with all due respect, I disagree with that. I got to go with the Chicago Bears. I think Chicago wins this one. I'm going to go 34-24, Chicago over Detroit, and they get the 2 seed in the NFC. So not much more to say. MF, what a magical season in Chicago. They win the North. All they got to do is beat Detroit or hope that Philly somehow gets tripped up by Washington, and they get the 2.
I think the reason why I think a lot of people on the FPI is giving Detroit the win is because I think they're thinking Chicago's going to rest their starters. I think they're fearing that because of the fact that there's nothing really to play for here. I think that's why they're trying to inch us over to Detroit's side to say, hey, look at this. Take this team. We're not buying it. We're not. Sorry. We're going with Chicago. We think Chicago's going to win. And plus, there's a point thing going on. We got possibly Caleb Williams possibly for 4,000 yards. Yeah, they're going to try to go for it. And especially Caleb. If he gets that, do you know how much he makes? Do you know what the added incentive is if he gets that? $5 million big ones. $5 million for Caleb Williams if he actually does hit the 4,000 yard plateau. So, oh yeah, he's going for it. No doubt in my mind. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, Chicago wins. It's yours.
Oh yeah, I gotta go with Chicago as well, especially with what they still have to play for. So, give me the Bears. It's yours, Florio.
And we move on to our next game. And this game is our number 2 game of the week. This is the number 2 game of the week on our side of the ledger. The Los Angeles Chargers squaring off against the Denver Broncos in Power Field at Mile High in Denver. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. They will be in Denver. Denver opening up as a 13-point favorite. They met earlier this season at SoFi, and the Chargers actually won that game 23-20. They cut Denver's series lead at 72-58 now with a tie. Chargers have won the last 3 meetings in a row against Denver, including a 23-16 win in Denver last year. But the Broncos last beat them 16-9 in 23 in Denver. So, all right, MF, our number 2 game of the week. There was a moment for a while that it looked like this was going to be our game this week. But because of the fact that the Chargers got tripped up and because of that gut-wrenching loss we saw against Houston last Saturday, that was a gut-wrencher. And now Herbert's out. Trey Lance is going to be starting.
Yep.
So Chargers and Broncos, number 2 game. What do you think?
You could see it from the mile away. Denver basically Jim Harbaugh is like, you know what? White flag, no mas. We're not gonna risk our guys for just a meaningless game. Denver, even though the Patriot fans were hoping to see Denver, because if Herbert was playing, maybe the Chargers would maybe try to go for the upset. But now you see it. It looks like they're packing it in, and now if you're a Patriot fan, you're not getting the 1. There's no doubt in my mind. The 1 seed will go to Denver. Denver clinched the division. Now they just got one more thing they got to get. If they win, they get the 1 seed. They get the division. They would get the division. They already got the division. They would clinch the 1, the bye, home field throughout the AFC playoffs. That's exactly what Denver wants more than anything else, because to go into the Mile High, to go into that brutal cold of Denver, Colorado, that's going to be a humongous advantage to have, to say the very least. So give me the Denver Broncos to win this game, to clinch the 1, get the bye, and all roads through the AFC playoffs is going to be going through the Invesco Field at Mile High. So there's really nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I got to go with Denver as well. Even though, for me personally, especially as a Patriots fan, I was hoping maybe the Chargers would play their regulars and give them. But like you said, with Harbaugh basically said, look, we're not going to risk the health of our players. I want them healthy going into the playoffs, so I'm just going to play a lot of the backups. So, yeah, Denver's going to win, lock up the number 1 seed. So it's yours, Florio.
LA has a chance to go undefeated in the AFC West for the first time in franchise history with a win. A feat coach Jim Harbaugh will leave up to his backups. Quarterback Justin Herbert and other yet-to-be-named starters will not play. The Chargers have their playoff spot secured, and a win would be only for seeding positioning, which Harbaugh does not care much about. One game doesn't define us, but soon it will, he said. Denver wants and needs recent history to repeat itself. Coach Sean Payton said he has conveyed to his team the importance of the number 1 seed, so much so that he did not discuss clinching the AFC West title last week. So the Broncos need the pedal to the metal effort they got in last season's finale when they smashed the Kansas City Chiefs backups 38-0 to earn a wild card spot. And Payton wants that bye. The first reason would be you skip a game in which you're at risk to not play well, or an opponent all of a sudden has a great game. You skip the threat of potentially losing a game. If that makes any sense, you skip right to the next round. Broncos lead the NFL in sacks while also having the fewest sacks allowed at 19. Their plus 45 differential in sacks and sacks allowed is currently the largest in a season since team sacks were first recorded in 1963. And we already know what's at stake. It's simple. Broncos clinch the number 1 seed and home field advantage with a win or losses by both New England to Miami and Jacksonville to Tennessee. Overwhelming FPI for Denver, 69% going with Denver. I'm going with Denver as well. 26-16, Denver defeats the Chargers and gets it all. Moving on to our next matchup. On the NFC side, it's the Arizona Cardinals squaring off against the Los Angeles Rams, SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. This one will be over on Fox. It'll be Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, Megan O'Leary. Spread favoring the Rams. LA opening up as an 8.5-point favorite. They met in Arizona earlier in the season. Rams smashed the Cardinals 45-17. So the Rams add to their series lead 50-41 with 2 ties in favor of LA. Last year in LA, the Rams won 13-9. Rams have won the last 2 meetings in a row against the Cardinals at home. Arizona last won in LA in 2022, 27-17. So there is not much for me to add. So I believe Michael Bullock starts this one off. So Michael Bullock, Arizona and the Rams. Who you got?
Yeah, I got the Rams winning this one. I think they should be able to handle their business with them. So give me the Rams. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah. With their off-season days away, the Cardinals have not started thinking about their vacation plans yet. Quarterback Jacoby Brissett said it helps that Arizona is playing a division rival, and it's motivated to notch its first NFC West win of the season. Coach Jonathan Gannon said they'll maximize their last opportunity here. LA might be locked into the number 6 seed before it kicks off Sunday against Arizona, but Coach Sean McVay said his starters will play in Week 18. It's a departure from his philosophy for the last 2 seasons. But after back-to-back losses, McVay said his starters need to be out there. We need to play, McVay said. We need to play better football. So I don't know what the consequences are in those different types of things, but we got to play better. Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua has 4 games this season with at least 150 receiving yards, one shy of tying the most in a season in NFL history, done by Roy Green in 1984, Hall of Famer Jerry Rice in 1995, Hall of Famer Tim Brown in 1997, Antonio Brown in 2017, and most recently, Tyreek Hill in Miami in 2023. Rams can clinch the number 5 seed with a win and a Seattle win at San Francisco. The Rams would clinch the number 6 seed with a loss or a 49ers win. Overwhelming FPI for LA, 78% going with the Los Angeles Rams. I think they get it right here. I'm going with the Rams to win this one comfortably. 34-13, Rams all over Arizona. MF, what says you?
Yeah, I totally agree with you on this one as well. I'm also going with the Rams to win the game. So really nothing more to add. Anthony, it's yours.
Oh, we move on now to when it comes to our side, this is our Zonk game of the week. The Kansas City Chiefs squaring off against the Las Vegas Raiders, Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. And we have a very interesting announce team for CBS calling this game. That's how much they think of this as the Zonk. Chris Lewis and Kyle Long alongside of Tiffany Blackman. Kansas City opening up as a 5.5-point favorite. Kansas City defeated Vegas earlier in the season at Arrowhead, smashed them 31-0 back when Mahomes was running around. They now lead. They add to their series lead 72-57 with a tie in favor of the Chiefs. The Chiefs have won, 3, 5, 7. They've won 8 consecutive games against. Whoops, I'm sorry, that was the wrong line. It's only 3 in a row. That's right, 3 in a row against the Raiders. They won in Vegas last year, 27-20. Raiders have not beaten the Chiefs at home since that wild and crazy Thursday night game back in 2017 in Oakland. But since then, the Chiefs have won at the Raiders every year since 2018. So not much more. And I got to start this off. Oh, lucky me. All right. One moment here. Okay. The biggest subplot for the Chiefs is the strong possibility that Sunday could be Travis Kelce's last game in his illustrious 13-year career. Kelce is expected to play his usual snaps, and the Chiefs will be eager to get him a touchdown against the rival Raiders. Kelce said, honestly, I've just been trying to win games. That's what he said last week about his future. I'll let that be a decision I'll make with my family, friends, and the Chiefs organization when the time comes. With Raiders quarterback Geno Smith with an ankle injury doubtful to play in the season finale, Carroll plans to play both Kenny Pickett and Aiden O'Connell. Raiders might favor Pickett to start because he has been QB2 throughout the season, but both players are looking forward to the opportunity to get reps, especially O'Connell, who started the season on IR because of a wrist injury. O'Connell said, I think it's been hard to sit back and watch. It weighs on everyone when they lose like this, and so just trying to stay patient and wait for my opportunity. Chiefs have gone 4 straight games with 1 or 0 touchdowns, tied for their longest streak since 7 straight in 2012, and the longest streak of any team this season. One more such game would tie the longest streak in the NFL over the last 3 seasons, joining the 2024 Miami Dolphins and the 2023 both New York Jets and Carolina Panthers. Solid FPI for Kansas City, 60% going with the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs to win this one as well. I'm going to go 23-17. Kansas City defeats Las Vegas. Zonk game of the week. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, total agreement. I got Kansas City winning this game. Look, the Raiders are for one thing and one thing only. A loss here secures the number 1 overall pick in the upcoming NFL draft. They got an 80% chance of doing that. So obviously they're focused on losing this game more than anything else. Kelce is probably going to this may be Travis Kelce's final game in the NFL. So I kind of feel like Kansas City is going to do whatever it takes to help Kelce win this game. So I think you're going to see a heavy dose of Kelce in this one. I don't think there's going to be much more than that. And plus, I think the Raiders, like I said, I think they're more focused on the number 1 pick because if by all indications, if everything holds the way it's supposed to, Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback of Indiana, might be on his way to the silver and black, if they have anything to say about it. So, nothing more to say. Chiefs win. Raiders will get the number 1 overall pick in the upcoming NFL draft. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs as well. I mean, especially, and I think the Raiders will seal the getting that number 1 overall pick. So, nothing more to say. Let's move on to the next game.
This is your game, Bullock. Well, then again, it's not just your game; it's both of your game, gentlemen. It's the Buddy Bowl. Good old MF Michael Fletcher's team, the Miami Dolphins, squaring off against Michael Bullock's AFC East Division champion New England Patriots, Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. This game is on Fox, and it'll be Joe Davis, Greg Olson, and Pam Oliver. They will have it. New England opening up as an 11.5-point favorite. They met back in week 2 in Miami, a wild and crazy game with New England winning it 33-27. So they cut into Miami's series lead. Miami still leads the regular season series 63-54 now with the win in Miami. Last year, well, here's some good news for MF. The Dolphins have actually won in New England each of the last 2 years. 15-10 last year, 24-17 in 23. New England's last win against the Dolphins at home was in 2022. 23-21 was the final there. So there's not much more for me to add. So it's MF. MF, you started off here. Miami, nice win over Tampa Bay last week. Quinn Ewers.
Yeah.
But the thing is, can they go into Foxborough and make it 3 in a row?
The thing is, this is really interesting because there's a quandary on both sides. One, what is the mindset of the New England Patriots? Where are their heads at? Because obviously they must know that the 1 seed there's an outside shot for the 1, but in all attempted purposes, I think we all can agree the 1 is lost. Okay. So what does New England do? How long do they keep their starters in? The MVP of the league, and yes, I'm calling it now, Drake May will be the most valuable player in the NFL this year. How long does he play in the game? Will we even see Stephon Diggs? You know that there's been some problems off the field. 2 Patriot players having a little bit of some issues with the law right now. Are they going to be available? How long are we going to see this? And again, how long are we going to see the starters for the Patriots in this game? Because that's going to be the real story of this whole thing. I just found out just a short time ago, Devon Achane is not playing. He's out. An injury just popped up out of nowhere. We just found out a report just a short while ago. Devon Achane will not play on Sunday. He's out. So that's a major loss for the Miami Dolphins. We don't have Achane. So it's going to be very interesting how they're going to play this. What is it going to look like? What's the layout going to be? I don't know. So this is going to be very uncertain waters going into this game. Obviously, Miami wants to be spoiler. We want to win this game. We would love to stick it to the Patriots for a 3rd time. Do it in back-to-back years at Gillette. Because everybody knows this place was the house of horrors for the Miami Dolphins. And I think, and I honestly believe, we broke it the year that we beat them at Gillette that prevented New England from getting a 1st-round bye. We literally, and I'll openly admit it, I feel the Miami Dolphins is responsible for the end of the Patriot dynasty. We killed the dynasty when we beat them in week 17 when everything was on the line. 2019. We ended the Patriot dynasty that day. And I think nobody has ever said anything, this has always been quiet. Nobody's ever talked about it because it's always been swept under the rug. Because Nobody had either the hearts, the guts, or the balls to even say it. But I said it, and I meant every word I said that day. This is the reason why I think New England is going to win. Because of the fact that Mike Vrabel is going to play the starters. I think they feel like we got to stay consistent. We got to stay motivated. We got to be ready for whatever that first round matchup is going to be. I think it's going to be similar to the game against Buffalo and the Jets. I think we'll see the starters for maybe a half, and then they may pull them out. Obviously, you don't want anybody to get hurt. You don't want to risk that loss, and especially receiving-wise, you're a little thin on receiver. Matt Collins is not one of your big Patriots, Bullock, is injured. He's on IR, and he may not be available until at least the AFC Championship game if New England gets there. Obviously, the Stephon Diggs thing is definitely need to be monitored. There was also another player from the Patriots that got himself in trouble with the domestic violence. Obviously, that needs to be Christian Barmore. That needs to be monitored as well about their availability. So we don't know. I believe New England is out because I think they're going to be out for blood here because of the fact that they're going to want to finish strong. They're going to want to send a message to the rest of the AFC that we are the New England Patriots and we're going to win this game. And that they're not afraid because they got that blessing, that gift last week when Buffalo lost to Philly. So on that bus ride heading back to Gillette, they found out, oh my God, we're the AFC Eastern Division champions. When they got to Gillette, when they got home back at Gillette Stadium, the hats and T-shirts were waiting for them. The hat and T-shirts were waiting for the New England Patriots. The minute they got off the bus, here's your hat, here's your T-shirt. Congratulations, you're AFC Eastern Division champions. I think Mike Vrabel has basically said it. Their mission is not the division. They're looking for something bigger. They're looking for better. They're looking to bring stability back to Gillette. Obviously, this is a game they have to win. Because the ramifications is devastating. If they lose this game, they could drop. They actually fall down. They could go to 3. I think the lowest they can go is 3, Anthony. I don't think they can go 4. I think it would only be 3 if they.
It would be 3.
It would be 3.
It would be 3.
And if it's,
I think if they should lose to Miami, and Jacksonville beats Tennessee, we'll have to look into that.
Yeah, which is very possible because Jacksonville, I think it's going to win their game. You don't know what Miami's going to look like, but here's the thing: Miami is also looking at draft stock, and right now we're sitting at 13. If certain games goes the way it goes, Miami can sneak their way into the top 10 in the NFL draft. As a matter of fact, they could be as high as 8 going into the NFL draft. And trust me, if you're a Miami Dolphin fan, you want a top 10 pick. You want to be there because we're not looking at quarterback because I think Quinn Ewers may be the answer. Now, there's also some guys who might be free agents. As a matter of fact, Malik Willis, his name's been thrown around a lot to possibly become the next quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, the backup for Green Bay. You'll get to see him on Sunday. At the end of the day, that's the way I'm thinking. I think New England will win this game because obviously they're gonna want to keep the 2 seed. They can't afford to lose it. So give me New England to win it. Anthony, it's yours. I believe Bullock may have left for the night.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, if that's the case, because we had our big SmackDown chat this evening. And we got a lot to say about that show tomorrow night. Believe you me when I tell you.
Oh boy.
Yeah. In one night, we may have made SmackDown great again. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But a little surprising considering his team is up next. That is the New England Patriots. But I'm sure Bullock probably would have agreed with all the sentiments there. So but what a story for him, though. I mean, ahead of schedule, way sooner than we expected. I mean, we were expecting this team to be right around 8 or 9 wins or so, but for them to be 13-3 and at the very least the 2 seed, which is just as good as the 1. Let me tell you, as a Bills fan, I can tell you, the last few years, Buffalo was in that 2 spot, and we can tell you that spot is just as good as the 1 because you're guaranteed at least 2 home games. So maybe 3 if the 1 gets tripped up. So we shall see. But what a story for the Patriots, though. Unbelievable. 2 games left. We have next up, it's the Washington Commanders squaring off against the Philadelphia Eagles. Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. This one is on CBS. Kevin Harlan. And believe it or not, it's not Trent Green. It's going to be Ross Tucker sitting in for Trent Green. It will be Kevin Harlan, Ross Tucker, and Melanie Collins. They will have the call. Philadelphia opening up as a 4-point favorite. They met on that Saturday night a couple of weeks ago. Philadelphia went into Washington and beat up on the Commanders 29-18 in that game. And they won they went on to win the NFC East in that game. So series history now, it cuts Washington's lead down to 89-86 with 5 ties. Eagles have won the last 2 meetings at home. Last time Washington won in Philadelphia was 2022, 32-21. So with Bullock out, I'll just start it off here for Washington and Philly. With Commander left tackle Laramie Tunsil unlikely to play because of an oblique injury, Washington would be without 11 players who are projected starters this season. But even in a lost season, the Commanders have a few things at stake. Linebacker Bobby Wagner needs 5 tackles to become the 3rd player to reach 2,000 for his career, and defensive end Von Miller needs another sack to give him 9 and another $500,000. The Commanders cannot finish lower than 7th in the draft, but a loss Sunday could improve their pick. Philadelphia is planning to sit quarterback Jalen Hurts and other starters as the Eagles gear up for the playoffs. Coach Nick Sirianni is prioritizing giving some of his key players rest after another marathon season. For the guys who are actually down this week, it's a mental break. They need the mental break, tackle Jordan Mailata said. And that physical break is a huge aspect. Now they can just focus on getting right for playoffs. For us, it's the biggest advantage possible. It's like another bye week. Commanders running back Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt has scored a rushing touchdown in each of the last 3 games. He could join Antonio Gibson, Alfred Morris, and Skip Hicks as the only Washington rookies with a rushing score in 4 or more consecutive games. Eagles can clinch the number 2 seed with a win and a Chicago loss to Detroit. Eagles would clinch the number 3 seed with a loss or a Chicago win over Detroit. Overwhelming FPI for Philadelphia, 73% going with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles as well. 28-13. Give me Philly over Washington. MF, your thoughts?
I also agree. I give Philadelphia the win as well. I think they're going to win this game, and that should lock them up the number 2 seed. And we all know that Philly, getting that 2 is going to be massive for them. Like you said, 2 guaranteed home games at the Link. That's gonna be something to behold. So nothing more to say, Anthony. 1 game left and a major game. So much so, this is us.
Oh yeah, and we get to add another chapter to this rivalry. How many of these games have we done over the years?
A number of them. To the days when I was the lead commentator, we've done a handful of them.
You ready to add another chapter?
Let's do it.
All right. It's always great when it's these two teams in a high-stakes game. And by the way, for Philly, you heard what I said when it came to the what's at stake. Philly, the only way Philly can get the 2 is beating Washington and hoping that somehow Detroit trips up Chicago. That's the only way Philly gets the 2. But if Chicago wins, then, well, Chicago gets 2 and Philly, the best they can do is 3. So now that we got that cleared up, this is it. This is our game of the week. Maybe the game of the week. Sunday Night Football, NBC, for the AFC North Division title. The Baltimore Ravens squaring off against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Acrisure Stadium, formerly Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark. Baltimore opening up as a 4-point favorite. These two teams met in Baltimore a good few weeks ago. Pittsburgh stole one in Baltimore, 27-22. Pittsburgh adds to their regular season series lead, 36-25 in favor of Pittsburgh. And the good news for Pittsburgh, they've won the last 2 meetings at home against Baltimore. Baltimore last won in Pittsburgh in 2022, 16-14. MF, there's nothing more to say. AFC North and the 4 seed in the AFC to the winner. The Phil Sims to my Jim Nance, now more than ever. Do that thing I like. Hello, friends.
Yes, indeed. This is it. There's nothing more to say. The division's on the line, and you know, TJ Watt will play. It looks like he is on track to play. So is Lamar Jackson. He's on track that he will return in this winner take all. So the stars are aligning. The big names are coming. And we have ourselves a possible heavyweight championship fight on our hands. Look, I don't know how this is going to play out. I kind of feel like there is a big miss. Washington, the big guy, the big tight end for Pittsburgh, out, not playing. He will not be available. In that sense, that might be a major loss because that was one of the go-to guys that Aaron Rodgers was looking forward to. Can you run the football? Can you stop Lamar Jackson? How healthy is Lamar going into this? This is a back issue. You don't know how that plays out. But with everything on the line, I kind of feel like this is Baltimore's moment. I don't know why. I feel like Baltimore may be amped up, and I think they're going to get it. So I'm going to go with the Ravens to shock the Steelers and win the AFC North. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Ravens coach John Harbaugh said winning the turnover battle is the number 1 priority. The Steelers have forced the 3rd most takeaways in the NFL with 26. Since John Harbaugh became the Ravens coach in 2008, Baltimore is 4-11 when losing the turnover battle to Pittsburgh. Harbaugh said the team that wins the turnover battle is going to have a real edge in winning the game. So we know that. That needs to be us. Pittsburgh's biggest offseason priority revolved around stopping the run after Ravens running back Derrick Henry rushed for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Steelers' wildcard loss last year. Though Pittsburgh won the first meeting last month, the Steelers were still outrushed by 183 yards. This time, though, rookie defensive tackle Derek Harmon will play. The Steelers' run defense has improved by 80 yards when Harmon plays, but he's downplaying his impact. He simply said, "I'm ready to play ball, dog." The Steelers have been outgained by 903 yards this season, 6th worst yards differential in the NFL. Since the 1970 merger, only 4 teams have made the playoffs despite being outgained by 800-plus yards during the regular season. The 1983 Seattle Seahawks, the 1989 Pittsburgh Steelers, the 2010 Seattle Seahawks, and most recently, the 2017 Buffalo Bills. It's very simple what's at stake. Like Vince McMahon said going into the 2001 Survivor Series with Team WWF versus Team Alliance, it's winner take all. Steelers can clinch the AFC North in a playoff berth with a win or tie. Ravens can clinch with an outright win. The FPI agrees, MF, but it's not a big one. It's not overwhelming. It's only 57%, but they're still giving the edge to the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens to win this one as well, especially after what we saw the Ravens do when the Ravens went into Lambeau and Derrick Henry had the game of his life. Over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground in that beatdown of the Packers at Lambeau last Saturday night. And Pittsburgh coming out flat and getting embarrassed by the Cleveland Browns. Yikes. It's got to be Baltimore. I think it's going to be a decent scoring game, but I think Baltimore is going to pull this one out. 20-17. Give me the Baltimore Ravens to win the AFC North and get the 4 seed and wreak havoc in the AFC playoffs coming up. So with that will put the bow on this Week 18 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. MF, I do believe we got the Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night. Is that correct? With that huge SmackDown tonight?
Yes, we do. At 10 o'clock. We'll do it.
And, of course, we can't forget about TNA as well.
No, we can't.
So there you have it. 10 p.m. tomorrow night. Over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, we got the Cerebral Smack Talk, TNA Impact, Friday Night SmackDown. If you miss SmackDown tonight, you're I don't know what to tell you, because that show was wow. That's all I'm gonna say. Newsworthy.
A lot of newsworthy. Yeah, very, very newsworthy. More newsworthy than ever before. And it sets us up for a crazy, crazy, crazy show next week.
In Berlin, Germany. So
yes,
when they start that big international tour, as they get ready for the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia at the end of this month in 4 weeks. So that's tomorrow. And then Tuesday night, we'll be back here on the Tone 25 around the same time, right around 10:30 or so. More so 10:30 probably, as it will be Ridiculously Raw, Monday Night Raw, and NXT. And we're also going to preview the college football playoff semifinals. The Verbo Fiesta Bowl, Miami versus Ole Miss. And in our game, for me and MF, the Peach Bowl, Oregon and Indiana one more time. Cannot wait for that. And then 1 week from tonight, Super Wild Card Weekend edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, as we will preview the 6 games that will make up Super Wild Card Weekend. 2 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday, and that Monday night game as well. So that is it. So until tomorrow night over on the MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, for the Cerebral Smack Talk, this is Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, and always and forever our First Lady, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Saturday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching the Week 18 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.